critical phase of incident investigation is the initial response and problem triage. However, manual methods of troubleshooting are consistently the weak link in this cycle. When it comes to incident response, there are a few problems that occur in nearly every type of network. There's too much idle time between incident creation and engineer response. Tickets often sit untouched because an engineer is busy with other issues. Isolating the problem area is difficult, and if engineers don't spend a lot of time tracing out the critical path, they can end up in the wrong area or looking for the wrong problem altogether. And there's no end to tools that can create alerts on your network, but when it's time to start diagnosing issues, many engineers are still reliant on the CLI. When applied to a large enterprise environment, this simply doesn't scale. NetBrain can provide assistance in a few key areas. With NetBrain's API integration, it's easy to implement triggered diagnostic automation. This helps eliminate idle time by making NetBrain respond to new incidents the moment they appear on the network. NetBrain can use network information to map the critical path of an issue, calculating the control plane logic to determine where traffic is really headed, and turn the result into a dynamic map. NetBrain can also mass execute CLI diagnostics across every device that's currently active on a dynamic map, saving engineers time they'd otherwise spend in a procession of command lines performing a stare and compare. Let's take a look at this inside of the software.
In this example, our monitoring tool has detected an alert, and it's generated a ticket within our system. By integrating our ITSM with NetBrain, it's able to use this information to generate a map of the problem area and execute an initial diagnosis before the engineer begins troubleshooting. We can see a NetBrain map that's been linked inside the ticket. If we navigate to it, we'll see NetBrain's used its A to B path calculator to generate the critical path, the area that the engineers need to investigate in order to resolve the problem. NetBrain also provides one-click automation mechanisms that quickly scrape through reams of data such as CLI outputs, device configurations, network topology, telemetry, and other critical information from third-party network tools. By automating the collection of network diagnostics, NetBrain facilitates network-wide troubleshooting so you can organize procedures into repeatable operational runbooks. We can see here that NetBrain has executed a diagnosis on top of the auto-generated map. It's executed a number of CLI commands, and it's run an overall health check, which is looking for common indicators of performance issues. By visualizing this data on a dynamic map, I can quickly scan through devices and determine if any of them are experiencing errors. Thanks to NetBrain's Golden Baseline feature, I can compare existing CLI results to historical data and determine whether my network is behaving normally at the time of the incident. By relegating the first response to the machine, I've saved a lot of time I'd otherwise spend performing device-level diagnostics. Here, the Golden Baseline is informing me that my input errors are beyond their acceptable range, and it's showing me a time-lapse of how they've been incrementing on my network. In addition, the automation task that NetBrain executed also contains recommended actions for me to follow. These actions come from the know-how of more senior engineers, and these actions are going to pull and visualize more CLI data related to the incident. NetBrain's first response automation can also be generated when engineers create a new ticket. Back inside of our ticketing system, I can submit an incident, and NetBrain's going to provide the same type of critical path and problem diagnosis that we saw earlier. By providing the business service that's been impacted, the IP address of the user, and a configuration item related to the incident, NetBrain generates a map of the crime scene and any prior issues associated with this area of the network. Any user with access to this ticket can view these dynamic maps and execute automation tasks across the associated network devices, giving engineers the necessary data, process, and analytics to carry incident investigations forward in a timely manner. Here, I'm looking at every device that exists between my user and the voice platform that they're experiencing issues with. By accessing the known problem maps, I can identify issues that I should check for first. In this example, it might be QoS drops between two routers or a bad SFP transceiver that was impacting traffic. These help me reduce the amount of time I spend theorizing and testing hypotheses while a user or business service is down.